Good afternoon, and we're excited to have you today. I am Georgette Johnson Grant, and I am a clinician here at the Mico Care Center. And above all, the most important thing, I'm the moderator for the day. All right. So today we're really excited to have this workshop entitled Fathering Without Fear. Now we sent out surveys, we spoke to fathers, we reflected on the experiences that we've had in the center with different fathers that we engage with, and we have heard your cries and we've heard your concerns. And this workshop is designed to be an answer to some of those concerns. You know, a workshop that's designed to celebrate you and your amazing role, the amazing role of fatherhood, and a workshop that is designed to help you to navigate those challenges and to see those opportunities that presents by you just being a father. So we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Just a little housekeeping before we get going. I just want to remind you that we want to work together on taking control of our noise. So what that simply means is that you ensure that your microphones are muted, all right? So if it is that you are responding to a question, or you have been asked to share, or you want to ask a question, then it is, you know, that is the time that we would expect those microphones to be unmuted. Now, to get started, we are going to have a prayer by Mr. Denral Henry, and that will be followed by our opening remarks, and that will be given by Mr. Jermaine James. After Mr. James, I will join you again. So again, sit back, relax, and enjoy and prepare to share. And know that we're doing this for you because we care.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, let us get into the attitude of prayer as we petition the throne of the Father of fathers. Father in heaven, we invite you into our presence now. As the theme is fathering without fear, we know that you have not given us the spirit of fear, O God, but of a sound mind. So if there is fear amongst any of these fathers, we pray that you will take out the fear and give them bravery and courage so that they may lead their families and take up their responsibility as head of the household. I pray that the information that we receive from this seminar will be far-reaching as we strive to make it as practical as possible so that they may apply to their daily lives, oh God. Bless and keep us, guide and protect us, enable and empower us so that we may be the leaders of our families as you have ordained us fathers and men to be in our household. Thank you we pray for forgiveness of sins, and I ask that everyone here, it will be a benefit for them to be here. When they leave here, they will say it was good to have been here because they have learned and they feel a sense of empowerment. With us, we pray. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Gentlemen, brothers, men of strong character, I bid you a good evening from the Mico Care Center. I am Jermaine James, System Administrator here at the center, but today I wear a different hat. Today, I connect with you as a father, and this is what this workshop is all about. Deepening our connections with our children as we learn to father without fear. I am pleased to be in this forum with you and to see so many of us as fathers man up. To be a part of this session, your action speaks volume about your intent and your interest too, as the proverb states, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. We must be the champions for our children and our families at all times. True champions always play to win and stay connected to our children. We must dedicate time and effort to improving our parenting knowledge and skills to win for our children. My parenting journey has been an unusual one, especially in the Jamaican context, as I am the main and active parent in my child's life, which is rarely the case. This has been the situation almost from birth. I would lie if I said that I have been getting right all the time, because there will always be gaps that will be difficult to fill without his mother being actively there for him. I do have a lot of fears about my son's life, his future, and the decisions that I make or not make that may impact his life. And that is why this workshop is so important to me, because I know that there's much that I can learn from some of you, and especially our panel of esteemed and well-experienced presenters. So my brothers, here is our pact for this workshop and beyond. As champions, we are joining together in this forum with one aim and one focus: to become empowered to win for our children. Thank you. I will now hand over to our moderator, Mrs. Georgia Johnson Grant, who will now take us through the rest of the program. Thank you.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And, you know, I thank you. Thank you so much for that, Mr. James. I love the quote: we never stop learning because life never stops teaching. And I just want to remind you of what Mr. James said, that as we think about this workshop and what it's going to do for us today and beyond, it is to help us to become champions, to help us to become empowered to win for our children. I love that. And I hope that as we go through the course of this, that you'll feel willing and you'll have no fears about sharing. All right, fathers, because as Jermaine said, we're all here to learn from each other. All right. And I mean, it's amazing, you know, sometimes there's some things that we may consider to be trivial. It's just a simple little thing that we said that we're doing, but we may be amazed at the impact that this will have on someone else as they navigate their journey of fatherhood. Now, before I go any further, I want to pause just to quickly make mention of our sponsors for this workshop. So we have the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Hilo Food Stores, Progressive Grocers, Texaco Jamaica, Ribby's Ultra Lounge, Jamaican Teas, Devon House Bakery. And we want to give them a very big thank you for all that they have done to help us to have the amazing prizes that we're hoping to give or share with you fathers today. All right, so I'm going to pause for a minute and Miss Simone Williams is going to join us and we will have our very first giveaway. Simone Smith, who I think may be married as Williams. So Simone Smith, join us.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson Grant. Thank you so much for your introduction. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Simone Smith, and I will be facilitating a very important and exciting part of our workshop today. You'll find that out in a few seconds. So, as we all should know by now, Father's Day is fast approaching, right? And what better way to celebrate with our fathers than to make you all feel extra special, right, fathers? I take that as a yes. All right, so at different points of our workshop, we will be having some exciting giveaways to some of our fathers. So fathers, stick around for the entire duration of our workshop. You're going to listen keenly to the information that will be presented, and you will participate when you are permitted, okay? So our first giveaway tonight, or this evening, will go to our first father who joined the workshop, and that is Mr. Junior Rowe. Is Mr. Rowe still online? Mr. Junior Rowe? Yes, give him a round of applause. All right, Mr. Rowe, congratulations. You have won for yourself a grocery voucher courtesy of Hilo Food Stores. Now we will contact you shortly with information on how to retrieve your token. All right, Mr. Rowe, so congrats again. All right, so next on our program, we're going to have our welcome and greetings, and this will be done by the director of the Mico Care Center. That is Miss Dr. Sharon Anderson Morgan.
Thank you, Miss Smith. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little emotional having heard Mr. James. I think it's such an excellent start to hear from a father who is fathering with some fears, but aiming to get to that place where he no longer has to fear, but he's confident and empowered. And it is on that note, I greet you, moderator, Mrs. Georgette Johnson Grant, specially invited guests, including our guest speaker, an esteemed panel, colleagues, fathers, good afternoon. It's not yet evening, not quite. On behalf of the Mico University College Child Assessment and Research in Education Center, I'm honored to extend welcome to you who have taken time out to be with us this afternoon for this special occasion. Special welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Jason Downer. I've been Googling you, sir, and I look forward to hearing you. And to our esteemed panel, including our very own Dr. Aspirin Pinnock, President of the Mico University College, Reverend Alston Henry, and Mr. Alric Blake, who will all be introduced to you later. Members of our audience, we welcome you wholeheartedly. Of course, welcome to our fathers. We welcome you in a special way. This one is for you, dads. You are our guests of honor, and we are elated to have you. Your presence here demonstrates that you understand that being a father is more than having your name on someone's birth certificate, and that you want to be more, you want to do more, and you want to give more to the development of your children. There is much research about father absence and its effect on children. You know, these studies have concluded that when a child does not have a father playing an active role in their lives, they're more likely to be aggressive, they're more likely to be depressed, they're more likely to have low self-esteem, they're more likely to go to prison, use drugs, commit suicide, and the negative list goes on. Dad, you are a big deal. Your presence makes all the difference. So, welcome to this seminar. Yes, fathering may be challenging. I'm not a father, but I know it is. But this afternoon is about empowering you to father without fear. You've got this, Dad. You've got this. So welcome to one and all, and do have an unforgettable evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson Morgan. You've got this. I absolutely love that phrase. You've got this. All right, so just to give you a little breakdown of the events for the evening. In a little, we're going to hear from Ms. Shalika Matthews, who serves as the head of clinical services here at the Mico Care Center, and she will do us the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Mr. Downer. All right, so we're excited to hear all about that as well. Now, following this segment, so after Mr. Downer, we're going to open up and we're going to have a panel discussion. So certainly we're all on Zoom, and we know that, you know, it's sometimes challenging for us to navigate this virtual space, especially when we're having discussions like this. But fathers, I invite you, when we get to that place, as questions emerge, as thoughts come to your mind, just feel free to use the raise hand feature and indicate, all right? Or type your responses in the chat. But I know that this is going to be an amazing evening, and I know that we'll all be blessed and be better people for having participated in this event. So, Ms. Shalika Matthews, I now turn the time over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Jason Downer. He's a passionate social advocate who is fully dedicated to promoting family health, particularly through addressing some of the critical challenges that males experience. He is also considered a male youth developmental specialist. He therefore spearheads a wide range of programs, including fathering mentorship, mental health, domestic violence, and substance abuse. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Theology with a minor in Guidance and Counseling, and he's currently completing his Master's in Forensic Psychology. Sounds impressive, right? In addition to being an ordained minister of religion, Deputy Chairman of the Board of Visitors of the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility, the President of the Men of God Against Violence and Abuse movement, and the author of the book Fathering Behind Bars. He's also the host of the radio program Raising Boys, and The Journey to Manhood, which is aired on Newstalk 93 FM. He serves as co-chair of the Gender Advocacy Council, and he is a master trainer in the World Meets a Father movement based in South Africa. Please prepare your minds to receive the message he has prepared for us today. And without further ado, I turn it over to Mr. Jason Dono.
Yeah, man. Evening, everyone. To Dr. Anderson Morgan, Dr. Pinnock, who is there. To the Mico Care family, to the man, them big up. Sorry, look like me not having a light, but I kind of have to tuck myself away from my children. So I'm here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve. I consider it serving. I tend to want to speak from the heart. I don't do so well with scripts. And some just have to speak to the man from the heart, yes. So it's a great opportunity. I find it an honor and a privilege to always get an opportunity to speak to men. One of my close friends and co-host from a program, Raising Boys on a Journey to Manhood, Mr. Sekou Hunter, is also, I think, an administrator there at Mico. And so we have had Mico on our program several times to talk about the pump program, actually. So while I'm finishing my master's at JTS, I have to big up Mico. Sekou would say the Mico University. So yeah, I'm here and I'm here to talk to us, just a bit. It says fathering without fear. And I want to touch something with that because I want to be a bit more touching a particular era where I think fear with us as Jamaican men and more so fathers tend to hold us back. And I want to say an approach to expressing emotion and affection. Yes, we have fear as it relates to we wonder if we're doing enough. Certainly a part of the narrative when sometimes you hear people speak, especially some of our own here in Jamaica, say Jamaica has deadbeat dads and, just fear of failing. But I don't want to go there. I want to go in a particular direction where the fear of failing in expressing emotion and affection is now seen in the psychology of the crime that we see. So I want us to listen to this. I mean, who is a father really? And of course, to keep it simple, a father is the male parent of a child or children. Just keep it very simple. And that can be by adoption, whether we do it the official way or not. And of course, you have father figures, but we want to take it for what it is. The male parent of a child. It's interesting that the very last book of the Old Testament pretty much ended this way. The very last book, the last verse, last chapter ended a particular way. It says, Malachi 4, it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet. This is 4, 5, and 6. Malachi 4, verses 5 and 6. I'm not preaching, so don't worry about it. I just want to share something. We are still a Christian nation. And so we hold firmly to some scriptural beliefs, yes? And so it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. Otherwise, I will come and strike the land with a curse. Dr. Anderson Morgan hinted at some of the statistics. It's out there. But I just want to narrow it down a bit and understand this, man. Fatherlessness is the #1 predictor of crime and violence. Right? And we're celebrating manhood and we're going to look at the fear, but I have to go somewhere. And so according to Dr. Michael Coombs, who is the chair for National Association for the Family, he says 8 out of 10 youths in prison grew up in fatherless homes. Fatherless daughters are 9 times more likely to be abused. 7 out of 10 teenage murderers grew up in fatherless homes. 9 out of 10 gang members grew up in fatherless homes. Fatherless children are 11 times more likely to exhibit violent behavior. 8 out of 10 rapists are from fatherless homes. 7 out of 10 high school dropouts are from fatherless homes. 7 out of 10 teenage pregnancies are to children from fatherless homes. Despite this very sad data, according to another social scientist, Dr. Herbert Gale, he says since independence, and you can research it, you can't get into the data now in terms of the numbers, the drop, but he says there has been an at least increase in father presence in the home. And maybe we can say that is because of this disseminating of information. So the messaging, it helps. And so especially younger fathers are, taking their role a bit more serious. You see more fathers at PTA. I am pleased to see the men who are here were 41 participants, even though we have a handful of females here. You go to antenatal clinic, you'll see that. You'll see the presence. So it helps, and we see an improvement. Nevertheless, it does not indicate that fatherlessness is not a big factor. In fact, fatherlessness does not mean daddy is absent from the home. Fatherlessness means the absence of the quality relationship. In fact, there's an increase in terms of single parent led household where mother and or grandmother is concerned. In fact, according to the Planning Institute of Jamaica, 80% of the households in Jamaica where children are concerned is led by either mother or grandmother. So some contrasting data there versus what you want to say Dr. Herbert Gale said. So we have that dealing with. So this means that fathering is seriously void in terms of good fathering is seriously void from the lives of our children where consistency is concerned. And this is evident in the callousness in the nature of our crimes, especially done by our males. If you listen to the news and you hear the nature of the crime, I mean, Bible is fulfilling. It did say in the last days. But also it speaks to something as it relates to what is happening in the home. We also see Plato, the murders and the domestic and intimate partner violence we now see as a direct link to the lack of positive, healthy masculinity that should be modeled at home. I get in there as it relates to the expressing emotion and affection. As men, fathers, many and quite possibly most of us never experience an embrace, a kiss. I mean, I talk about no kiss on the lips, really. No, man. Them things that might happen on baby stage, but on the forehead and the jaw, or affirmation from our fathers. And the more we grew, even if it happened, the less it got. And the more we were starved of affection. Now we need to understand this. Traditionally, we look at when you ask somebody, what's the role of a father? They say provider and protector. And because when you look, mothers would normally say I'm both mother and father. And they would say that because defining a father's role to both provider and protector, what it meant was with the dynamics of the Jamaican family where mommy is in the home and daddy maybe not providing as he should and she's providing, she would say, well, me I play the father role, so I'm both mother and father. Or when you come on to protecting or something happened at school and the father is not there to go on to investigate, she has to do it. She said, I'm playing the role of the father. So she said, I'm both mother and father, which is incorrect because a mother cannot father a child. But guess what? There are other roles. Thirdly, modeling. And the other one is nurturing. And I want to put it to us that especially because the nurturing is absent, which is also modeling, because the child will then see and experience what to emulate, then you find what we have now in society where many of us, we have a society, especially among boys, and if I'm talking boys because I really have a soft spot where that is concerned and a focus there. They are lacking in emotional intelligence and or self-regulation. And that is as a result of not seeing that modeled in the home. Not seeing conflict between, or let me tone that down, a disagreement between mommy and daddy worked out in a way that is mutually beneficial. Instead, what they experience now in home is mostly one-way traffic coming from mommy. And so as they leave the nest and go out, not having seen, managing conflict, a quarrel, a disagreement modeled before them, not seeing or experiencing the love and affection from a father, then that void remains and it spills over in their varying relationships. I want to challenge us as men to face that fear of being vulnerable, that fear of saying to our children, I really don't know, let me check. Face that fear against that nasty stigma that, boy, you can't love your son because you don't love man. Face that fear that says, boy, if I tell him something, I love him, boy, he might misinterpret and do the wrong thing. No, we as fathers need to take back certain narrative. Let us show our vulnerable side. You know, when I was, well, there's a personal story here. When I was born and as a sense came, I didn't see my dad. My brother had my last name, but I quickly realized we had different fathers. Something was off because I was kind of black now, because my friend up in the sun, but I was brown and he was black, and I knew something wasn't. And then my mother quickly said, well, my father, she and my father got along when she was pregnant, and he knew, clearly it was very evident, but he gave my brother an identity by giving him his last name. And then she would tell me that he's in foreign. My brother's biological father started to send things, and my father being foreign, them days I'm 40 years old. So, you know, they, what, 84, 85, they're 4, 5. Now I wonder how me not get nothing good, pretty something to and car and everything, yeah? And about 7, I asked my mother again, where's my dad? I mean, I not get no tie or nothing from my father, like my brother and my father in a foreign, and my father, you say my father in a foreign. And she told me that my father was in prison. That hit me, really hit me really hard. To this day, I think I'm experiencing some things and I'm just being vulnerable. Yes? But you know what my father did? Pretty interesting. He would send my older sister by his side. She would visit him and he would send message to her, through her to me. Son, I love you, etc. Long shot, when he came out, when I was 12 plus, the summer of 1994, you know, looking forward to John KC as I passed my common entrance. Never pick feet, but me go there. That period onward, my father expressed emotion. He never ended a conversation without saying, Jason, I love you. He was never afraid to hug me. And even when at a point we lived in a 1-bedroom, he was never afraid to become vulnerable and said he didn't know. As Father said, let us not fear what people will think of us, even in public. Not just with our own children, but understanding that the village still exists. And I know there are persons outside. Let me say it this way. As fathers, we don't only father our children. And that is important to understand, because those in our space, we have a responsibility for. Mind you, we have to use wisdom these days, because if it is that we allow certain ills in our space or certain things demonstrated by youngsters in our space, and we don't, in a manner that is approachable, step in and intervene, that toxicity might in turn visit us some way or the other. But this fear that is so ingrained in us that, and on my youth, I mean, I want nobody come and retaliate, and because we might correct him, we have to get over that. If it is that we want to keep our children safe, we want to keep our society say we have to now fight. Maybe not say fight that fear, steer that fear head on so that fear fears us. We're in a crisis. I work at an all-boys school, Jamaica College. I'm responsible for boarding. I have upward of 70 boys, not just from Jamaica, but from the Caribbean. I have St. Vincent, Trinidad, Grenada, Guyana, you name it. And I can tell you this. It's the same scenarios. It's either fathers are absent or they know the father, but they don't have a real relationship. Because them not go too deep in a conversation because we fear if the fathers fear if they go too deep, they might get emotional and the emotional thing get uncomfortable. Let's get uncomfortable because it's very important that our son sees that and daughters see that because oftentimes we link that boys alone need their fathers. Girls need their fathers. You can even say maybe even more. Because what we find a lot of times with teenage pregnancies, why young ladies or girls go out and get pregnant is oftentimes they are lacking in that affirmation from daddy from home. Or even if you don't live in the home with the mother of your child, that level of involvement needed is so absent that that little girl, that young lady, that adolescent, because she don't get affirmation from daddy, that first love from daddy, when she goes out there, and as we see now, when a little youth, and we have been there, daddy, we were 12 and 13, we know at that age, it was all about naked girls, then what do you think is going to happen to our daughters? If it is that we don't affirm them and express the love, face the fear dead on. Let's not have the fear cripple us. Let's also take back the narrative. Let's be there when necessary. And let me also say this. When it comes down to our friends and we see, yeah, we might be good fathers, but some of us have some friends and we know that they are really delinquent. And what we need to do is in a approachable way. You know, I keep saying approachable. Talk to a brethren, man. And if it is that we are so fearful of losing such a friendship, then that friendship isn't worth it. And not my business. Let's face this fear of fathering dead on. Fathering is not limited to financial provision. It's not limited to being there in terms of to protect. It's actually wider than that. Also, don't fear the system. And I'm saying this because it's Father's Day. You recognize that as a father, you are being prevented from seeing your child. You take that. You have your right. You take that to the courts. You don't get boisterous up and get physical with the mother of the child. And you don't say, all right, me now bother when you get older. No, I've seen that too here. That child grows with bitterness and your absence. By the way, let me say this, and I'm winding down. Last week, I was listening to RGR, and Senator Dr. Sophia Langmore was online. And she was on the radio program talking about maternal mental health. And she diverted a bit and she said, at UWI, and this is based on observation analysis now, there's no data there. So if you're going to quote what I'm saying, please put that out there, all right? She said, based on our observation, well, or at least over 70% of those who have come to the Ward 21, and we know where Ward 21 is concerned. We're not going to say mad, because we're going to use those language. Persons with mental health issues. And as fathers here, if you know, say, I don't want to go in that mental health thing, but me just make that plug here. Listen, man, if you realize, say, boy, you're under some stress and something happening to you, more, you talk to somebody. Don't be afraid of saying, you know, I need to speak to somebody because I feel as though my world is caving in. I feel as though I'm about to do something that I shouldn't do. Talk to somebody. And I want to make mention of that on a side note. But Dr. Sophia Langmore said 70% of those who either admitted or go to Ward 21 at UWI for mental health attention, 70% of those persons, the issue is linked to lack of paternal support and or fatherlessness. I called her immediately after. as you know, sister. And she said, yes, Jason. She said, the stress, the depression, brief psychosis, things like these, what they find, there's a link to the yearning for daddy. So I'm saying to us, let's not be afraid to father. Let's not be afraid of the naysayers. Let's not be afraid of the statistics and wonder if we're going to. We will fall short with some stuff. Fathering is not something you can study at a university. It's an experience. And as your children are growing, we will also grow as fathers. Let's just change the tide and the cycle and the narrative that is there. If you haven't done it before, now is the time to start. And I hope I'm talking to some men who are willing to look at themselves, accept the past. Anything before now, today what, the 16th or so? Or the 15th, one of them. Anything before now, can't do nothing about it. So accept the past. Nothing you can do about that. Accept the past. Sometimes to accept the past, and we're talking about fathering and or a wound that you might have as a result of you not having a father. So you accept the past. Mico Care Center is here. These are clinicians. Engage them. And say, I need help in accepting the past. Because this happened and that happened to me, and I need help. And when you accept the past, you ever see a long jump, and just stand up and jump. He goes backwards. Use some of the negatives of the past, because now you're engaged with a clinician, a psychologist. I'm not wrong with say a psychologist. As we said before, mental health, talk to somebody. You use that to propel your father forward. Accept the past, engage the present. It's when you deal with the issues of the past, you deal with you not being fathered properly or some form of wounds, whether from mother or father, and you deal with your lack or your delinquency as a father and come to terms with it and put steps in place, you will now be in a position to better engage the present and engage the present. And the present now is your youth or your youth name. And once you do that and do that effectively with the support of those things or agencies that are present, Mico Care Center, National Parent Support Commission, and all the other entities that are around, CPFSA, the family court, if it is that you believe that you're robbed of valuable time from your child, you engage these things, then guess what? The future will be brighter. Accept the past, engage the present, impact the future. And remember, we are father without fear. I just want to say a word of prayer. I know Virgin said the prayer first before, but I want to say it. So just close your eyes with me. Lord, I thank you for this grand opportunity to serve. To be a father is a very hard job. And especially so in the Jamaican culture, the dynamics of the family in Jamaica. Many of us were unprepared when we became fathers. Many of us are still unprepared. Many of us are struggling with father and mother wounds ourselves. Well, Lord, I pray that you'll allow us to understand that, first of all, we need to have a relationship with you, the eternal Father. I know there are some here who might have different religious persuasion. But Lord, wherever we are, meet with us. I pray that at this moment, help us to do introspection and to be able to come to terms with our shortcomings. And where we need help in engaging where we are falling short, help us to ask for help. Help us to become vulnerable. Help us not to be afraid of what it means to be a father. And help us to engage our children, firstly, and other children around us. Help us to father without fear. Help us to father with boldness. Help us not to fear being affectionate. Help us not to fear people misinterpreting our language, the word love, hugging, especially our sons in public. Help us not to fear showing respect to the mother of our children, even though we are no longer together in an intimate relationship. Help us not to fear. So meet us where we are. We thank you for this opportunity that Mico Care has presented, and we are looking forward to the rest of the program. And that we will, even though a church word, we will be edified. In the name I pray. Amen. Big up on yourself. Thanks for the opportunity to share. One love.
Amen. Sound words, sir. Sound words.
The best place to live. A great parent is not the one who gives the most money, not the one who gives the most toys, not the one who gives the best place to live. A great parent is the one who gives attention. To be a great parent, all you need to do is be present with your child. Not give presents, be present. That's all kids really want. They want you to notice them, to be loved, to be wanted. The best parent is the one whose eyes light up when their child enters the room. The parent who makes a promise to love unconditionally. The parent who leads by example. Not by what you say, but by what you do. Kids will never pay attention to your words. They will always and only pay attention to your actions and your intentions. A great parent works on themselves. A great parent makes their own mind strong, knowing their kids will likely follow in their footsteps. Heal yourself. Make your own mind strong, so your children can see the clearest example of what a great life looks like. Setting a clear and strong example of what type of human being you want your kids to become starts with you. It's up to you to set the example of kindness and compassion toward others, to set the example of what it is like to be yourself, to set the example of living a magical life that you choose. That's what a great parent does. Set their child free. Allow them to be themselves. Allow them to make their own decisions. Live your life in such a way that when your kids think of kindness, compassion, strength, authenticity, and real joy, they think of you. A great parent knows not to allow anything in their life they don't want their children to reproduce in their lives. That includes toxic relationships. That includes bad habits. That includes making decisions based on fear. A great parent listens. They don't lecture. A great parent supports, never shames. A great parent guides and sets free. Being a parent is not a job, it's a privilege. Being a parent is not a burden, it's a blessing. They are always watching. What kind of role model will you be for your children?
All right, so everyone, I am speechless right now after that powerful keynote address given by Dr. Donner. That was so powerful. I mean, Mr. Donner, sorry, that was so powerful.
That's prophecy.
Speak it into being, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Donner, for your address, and I hope you all learned something from what Mr. Donner presented. And I hope you also learned something from that powerful motivational video that you just saw. All right, so moving right along, you know, when you see me, it's a giveaway time. All right, just before I move on, fathers who are on the platform, if you're interested in getting gifts and any tokens, I will advise you to change your device name to your real name, your first and last name, okay? Because we'll be having a raffle in the end. So if you're interested in getting tokens, please to change your device name to your real name, okay? All right. All right, Mrs. Johnson Grant, it's back over to you.
I am here. Thank you. And thank you so much, Sir Donna. In your words, I say big up yourself too. That was amazing. That was really amazing. And you know, fathers, you've been very quiet. We're getting to the place now where we're going to jump into our panel discussion. But right before I get to that point, Chad, can I pick on you a little bit? How do you feel about getting uncomfortable? Mr. Downer, that phrase sounds like the title of a song. Yeah. Let's get uncomfortable. But that was excellent. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you think is a sensible move? Tell me what you're thinking, Chad. Chad Solomon Dixon. Unmute yourself and talk to us. And then Andrew, tell us what you're thinking as well.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, getting uncomfortable, not afraid to show the child love and care. Allow the child to talk to you and respond to the child. Don't shout down on the child.
Thank you. Thank you. That was Andrew, or was that Chad? I'm sorry.
No, Andre.
All right. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And that's really important. Eh? Christopher, tell me how you feel about that. About the things that we've been hearing so far. Do you think those things are doable things? Or is Mr. Donna asking you to climb the Blue Mountain or Mount Everest?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. It's just it's not really uncomfortable, but it's just take a bolder step and do what is right. Don't watch the naysayers. Persons will look on and say, hey, that's unusual, but I mean, your child is your child. Show them love and affection no matter what. You know, so a lot of persons will be shying from that to say, oh, that looks untoward, but no, love and affection is your child. Show them love, they will grow up being loved and show love as well.
Thank you, appreciate that. So Mr. Donna said we're to accept the past, engage the present, and impact the future. Excellent, excellent. All right, so we're going to jump now into our panel discussion. All right, and then this will give you an opportunity as well, fathers, to ask questions, to share, all right, because we really want to hear from you. All right, so let me just do, and then these introductions have to be very brief, because I'm telling you, these gentlemen, my goodness, they have so many accolades to their names. All right, so we're cutting it short a little. So we have with us Dr. Pinnock, Dr. Ashbourne Pinnock, and he's the president of the Mico University College. Prior to his appointment in September of 2015, time really flies, 2015, all right. So prior to his appointment, he served as a principal of the Sam Sharp Teachers College in St. James. He's quite a scholar, I must say, with academic qualifications to include, as his title suggests, a doctorate in education. He also has a master's degree in science, Science International Area Studies, and a certificate in crisis intervention. Dr. Pinnock was quite intrigued to see this, you know, certificate in crisis intervention. So I guess we'll benefit from that as we go on. So that's wonderful to know. And a diploma in teaching. He's a husband and a father of 2 daughters, right, Dr. Pinnock?
Yes, 2 girls.
All right, good. And then now we're looking at Mr. Blake, Sir Alric Blake. So he's a retired human resource and industrial relations officer. So I'm sure that Sir Blake is aware or has some experience with dealing with conflicts. All right, and we're going to engage in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about that, you know, as well as Jason alluded to, you know, certainly navigating conflicts is something that, you know, fathers definitely need to work on. All of us definitely need to work on. All right, so he has worked in the civil service for 42 years. He has been married for 41 years to Eureka Blake. And he's a father of 1 daughter. Did I get that right, Sir Blake? 1 daughter and the grandfather of,
Yes.
right, of a grandson. So, all right. So you and President Pinnock, you're not a Pinnock, you know, we have that in common, daughters. So I'm quite intrigued as well. All right. So then we move on now to Reverend Alston Henry. And the Reverend Dr. Alston Henry is the father of 3 children. And guess what? You see, if I was the giveaway girl, I could give you a gift. But who can guess what I will say no? If you can guess, I will kindly ask or give away fairy to give you a gift.
He has 4, I mean, all boys?
Jeez, or somebody else. Let somebody else. Come on, I want to make so we're gonna have 2 responses or 3 responses, and I will tell you who's correct. So thank you so much.
He's not breaking the trend. He has all girls. He has all girls.
Who said that now? Who said that? I'm trying to.
Jason.
Mr. Donor, man, sure. But yes, but that is absolutely true. He's not breaking the trend at all.
Wow.
He has 3 girls. So I feel like telling them, you know, big up yourselves, because they always say, what, girls, we're so complicated.
Some men have girls.
What's wrong with them? Indeed. All right, so Reverend Henry now, he has been a Christian since 1966. So that's about 56 years. Wow. And he has dedicated his life to learning about the Lord and planting the seed of faith in the hearts of others. He's a student of the scriptures, having completed studies in Caribbean ministries and theology. And he has served in capacities to include those of pastor, minister, lecturer, committee member, and the chairman. He has also served as chairman of multiple school boards. All right, so certainly you can give us lessons in time management, because certainly that has been a challenge, and that is a challenge, you know, that based on our survey, those are things that have popped out. So Reverend Henry currently serves as a justice of the peace, and he's also a minister of religion. And then we heard a lot already about Sir Dona, all right? And he was our special speaker, our keynote speaker, all right? So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. All right, so thank you again. Thank you again. I feel so honored to be sitting here tonight. All right, so let's talk a little bit about time. All right, let me jump on that one. So based on our survey, some fathers indicated that, boy, you know, they really just do not have enough time to spend with their children. So Reverend Henry, can you tell us or help us to understand what are the implications or what are the challenges that we can face, or what are the challenges that our children can face if, as parents, or in this particular context, if fathers do not spend enough time with their children?
Thank you, moderator, fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, all. A very good evening. I would like to begin by thanking the Mico University for organizing this workshop to assist us in becoming better fathers. And I want to congratulate all the men who have taken time out from other activities to be a part of this. An excellent investment of your time. Question: what are some of the implications of not spending enough time with your children? Spending quality time with children is essential for their healthy growth and development. Lack of quality parent-child bonding may lead to erosion of family values such as empathy, shared hobbies, love, and accommodation. If your children see you only in the morning or do not see you at all during the work week, they may begin to feel emotionally distressed and depressed. Depending on the development stage of the child, if your child is under 9 years, for example, he or she might feel guilty and sad, believing they've done something wrong as their parents don't want to spend time with them. This could result in several behavioral problems and other insecurities which may affect a child into his/her adult years. When parents are absent from home, whether physically or emotionally, children have no other outlet for expressing their feelings, which can lead to emotional distress. These children may not feel loved by their parents and could cause them to develop confidence in strangers who may take advantage of their vulnerable position. According to research, children who do not have strong bonds with their parents are more prone to behavioral disorders and are more likely to become involved in risky behaviors. Risky behavior is just a way children use to get the attention of their parents. There is also suicidal tendencies and antisocial behaviors. Other dysfunctional behaviors include aggression, delinquency, poor school performance, unsafe sexual practices and relationship, teen pregnancy, and substance abuse. Therefore, gentlemen, it is extremely important for the well-being of our children that we spend quality time with them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering though, what does quality time look like?
Yeah, may I say something here?
Definitely, man.
I wanted to say, but you said it, that it's not just time, the quality time. Because, once I realized that I have 3 children, not completely a girl dad, but a girl dad, 13-year-old daughter, twin boy and girl, 6. They're twins. And I realized not just being here and they see me, but the things that you do during the time. It's very important. The things that you do with them. With my 13-year-old, simple thing like going on the road with me so she can just have conversations, because if I'm here, either my son wants to jump up and punch me or something, or my daughter the younger one wants to dance. So it is what you do, and it also acts as memory. Good memories for them, bonding moments. So that is vital. Simple thing like washing the car, and they're out there washing the car, and you maybe spray them with the hose. Some of that, it says something, and it's a kind of a long love language, and it speaks to love, even though you might not say I love you. So I wanted to put that in there.
Thank you. So it's a type of love language, because what I say, time equals love equals time. Eh? So that's what you're getting at. Thank you so much. So I'm wondering though, so Reverend Henry, Dr. Pinnock, and Sir Blake, you have adult children, right? Yes. So Mr. Donor, you're the one who you are yet to. That is something
with those years of marriage, 40 and 41 and them years of boy.
I tell you,
I am just 40.
Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here and I tell you, while I was here preparing or organizing these bios, and I was looking at the 1966 and all them years, and I said, oh my goodness, where was I?
But though, you never think of them as adults though, They're always the kids. My daughter was ill the last week and I stayed home with her all week. She's 22, going on 23. Just to ensure that she's okay. I just couldn't leave her. I was trying to go home last weekend and I didn't. I spent the weekend with her, cook for her, nurture her, because she's still my baby, And that can also be an issue. You have to be careful. You have to know when to let go. And when you allow them to get their independence, but I realized that she needed the attention, so I welcomed the idea and stayed back and I did it. But now she said she's better and I must go. So, you know, you have to listen to your kids.
Thank you so much. And in the words of Sir Downer, Dr. Pinot, pick up yourself. That's wonderful. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So let me jump over to Sir Blake. So Sir Blake, how important is it to take cues from our children that we can know when to retract and when to give, or when to give and when to let go?
It's sometimes you sense it, and it's once a relationship becomes an experience, because once the bond has been formed, it's never it's sort of breakable. It's not easy to let go. So, but as the doctor says, you will get hints and you know when to move. But no matter how you try, there will always be a part of you once the bond has been formed.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we want to talk a little bit now about disciplining, and that is a big thing. And you know, considering that we've been conversing, Sir Blake, I'm going to allow you to work on that a little bit, Sir Blake, and then I want you to just jump back in as soon as you can, all right? Because we want to talk about positive discipline or positive parenting techniques. So we all agree that disciplining is important, but what does disciplining look like? Like seriously, that is something that I really would love if you could share with us. What does disciplining a girl look like? Does it look different for a girl versus a boy? Does it look different when you're dealing with a child that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versus a child who is 14, 15? What does that look like?
I believe a lot of parenting is not reacting, but you respond. There's a difference between responding and reacting. Respond through the environment, the time period you're in. You also realize that you know, the environment we're brought up in is a different environment today, and kids are different in culture. You call it generation gap. There are about 5 or 6 generation gaps from us in terms of what we're accustomed to and what they're accustomed to. Now, those are the things that shape how you interact with them and the relationship you build with them. And if you build good, positive relationship, then disciplining is minimized because you all know the expectation. They know the expectations, you know the expectations, and therefore you all bond together. And I'm not saying you won't have sometimes persons going out of line, but that becomes minimal because of the clear communication pathway you build. And so parenting is something that you have to, it can't be just haphazard and by the way. It has to be deliberate. And you have to know what you're doing and what you expect from your children. The other thing is that you must know the end product. What's the end product? What kind of adult you want your kids to be? And then you work towards it gradually. And that will minimize disciplining, in my mind.
Yeah, you know, if I may add, you know, and just to say, fathers, if you find that you enjoy disciplining your child, yeah, something is wrong.
Exactly.
No good parent, and in this context, father, should enjoy it. You know, it's something that must be done. And discipline doesn't mean physical hurt. I mean, we know there's a big argument there about spare the rod, spoil the child, you know. And for those of us who I spoke to some, and that's punishment really, you know. You know, there are some of us, though I was sharing in a different forum and I said, the rod does not have to be something physical. You know, it could be a figure of speech, you know, it could be your words of correction, you know. So, but I just wanted to mention that if you find pleasure in disciplining your child, that's not a good thing. All right. Just wanted to just say that.
Could I just add discipline?
Absolutely.
Could I? Moderator, could I just add?
Oh, I'm saying absolutely, Rev. Go right ahead. Absolutely.
Inculcate discipline in the child early, very, very early. The Bible is very correct. It says, train the child in the way it should go. And in Ephesians chapter 6:4, fathers are the ones given the responsibility to train children. So we have God's support in undertaking the disciplining of our children, but start very, very early. And by the time I remember as a youngster that our parents didn't need to speak to us. One look and you would know whether you should stop or proceed. You follow me? Just looking at us would tell us. We were able to read the degrees to that look. So we know, stop immediately, move away or something, but just looking. But that didn't come about when we were teenagers. They disciplined us very, very early as little children.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Sir Blake, are you able to share with us now? Yes, I'm seeing you. Right. So unmute now and talk to us.
Yes. What is critical is the relationship. So the parents should hold regular meetings are regular meetings on a regular basis, and give the children the opportunity to talk what is on their minds. Additionally, if you have more than one child, make opportunity for each one of them to connect with each of them. And some children will prefer to be more comfortable talking about their concerns without their siblings around. Talking while driving somewhere is another opportunity. And the children should know that they can ask questions at any time. With all the emphasis on the rights of children being pushed at the national and international level, children have learned to expect respect from adults. There's a challenge to the traditional socialization norms where the adult role was traditionally authoritative and discipline of the children were expected to be the passive subordinate. Now children expect respect. So the reasoning with the child becomes important. And parents should remember that when applying discipline, that there is a line between discipline, a fine line between discipline and abuse. We now have legislation to outlaw corporal punishment in schools, and beating teaches children that the only effective response to a problem is violence. So we should remember that the aim is not to be your child's friend, but your parent. A permissive attitude to parenting will not be effective. Teach your children how the values and the importance of respect. And the authoritarianism does not foster mutual trust. However, an authoritative approach where the values of the parent and child are well established, where communication is open and there is mutual respect, and children feel that there is mutual respect and children are being listened to, is the key to communicating discipline. So, and children can get frustrated easily in a variety of different situations. Fortunately, positive discipline can work, however, where it comes to showing their attention and affection, as opposed to engage with their feelings by directing them towards something else. For example, tell the toddler to play outside instead of telling them they can't watch any more television. By providing an alternative activity to focus their attention in a positive discipline for the toddler can keep things in an optimistic light. Discouraging negative behavior is a familiar part of being a parent, but praising and rewarding good behavior are examples of positive discipline that can be more effective. If your child is upset about a friend who is sick or experiencing hardship, acknowledge it. Let them know that the concerns, let them know that concerns for the well-being of their friend is shows empathy. By providing affirmation and articulating the emotion, they feel encouraged to do the same. Again, specifically praising and rewarding positive behavior will help teach your child how you would like them to act in future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Blake. So I'm hearing some of the modeling coming out that was mentioned earlier in our keynote addresses today. And I'm hearing about the importance of giving children choices and setting them up to succeed. Now, I have a question though, because I'm just reflecting on what Reverend Henry mentioned. So he mentioned that he used the scripture, which we all know, train up a child in the ways he should go, so that when he's old, he will not depart from it, right? So I'm wondering, no, because just thinking about accepting the past, engaging the present, and impacting the future. What if we have a father here now who is just hearing this for the very first time, and his child is 7 or 8 years old, or probably 12 years old? Is there hope, considering that he did not start when he was very young? What are some things that can be done to navigate that? Because this is a learning process, I'm sure, and then I'm certain that there are many fathers who are sitting here now and they're ready and they're raring to go and implement some of these things. Is there hope?
There's always hope.
Tell us why there's hope.
You know, I would say two things.
Yes.
One, the reason why education moves beyond age 12 is because they can learn at any age.
Oh.
And there is hope. And secondly, the reason why Jesus came is because there's hope. He came and he provided hope for us. And even when we were hopeless sinners,
Can I get an amen, somebody?
there's some redemption. And therefore, I'll never write off anyone. And I know that I got turned around at age in 3rd form. I was hopeless up until 3rd form. And that's where I got, my life changed through positive mentoring, and a person who believed in me is a teacher who told me when I received, trying to remember, 36% on a physics test, and the gentleman told me I was a bright boy. I nearly fainted. I mean, 36% on a test, and he told me I was a bright boy. He looked at the paper and my answers, and he said, "You got all the areas where it required thinking, and analysis. You got all of them correct. You got almost full marks. The 36 was out of 40 for that section. The section we had to sit down and do some work and study and remember the formulas and stuff. You got none because you did no work. So he said, you're a bright boy, but you're an idle boy. Stop being idle and the brightness will take over." That was the sentence and the statement that changed my life to this day. So I'm saying you can change. You need positive role models. You have persons who would need to tell you and see the good in you and pull it out, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Just to add to Sir Pino, if you're here as a father and you realize you have employed, you have used some unfortunate means of parenting or fathering, recognizing now based on all that is being said, that, hey, I've been doing some stuff wrong. It is
Yes.
quite okay to say to your child or children, I am sorry.
I'm sorry.
That in its, you see the vulnerability we speak about,
Yeah.
gentlemen, that in itself creates bond. It's a teaching moment. And when you can come down to that point,
Yes.
it means something to your son or daughter
Yes.
that he or she would want to emulate. If it is your child, fortunately, we're in an era where information is just being put out there about the brain and the prefrontal cortex. There's some that's why I say engage the present. If you're on this in this space and you realize that whether through your parenting style or for whatever reason your child is at a place where it was exposed to some toxicity or some bad parent, whatever it is, I am saying engage, start with a conversation with any of the clinicians here. The fact that you are invited here means that there's some form of relationship. So start the conversation and take it from there. They'll point you in some direction where you can get support. And I mentioned the National Parent Support Commission. Utilize what is there. And so that would be my suggestion.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, and just to reinforce, it is what is wrong, right? In admitting that you're a human being and you have made mistakes. The child wants to know that their parents are human beings and but if you are doing things wrong, you have to begin, now that you know better, you have to begin where knowledge reach you. And there must be affirmation, because the idea is to bring out the best in the child or the children. And the pastor mentioned earlier about training, not only should we train them the way that they should go, but we should go that way ourselves. Because the power of example is one of the greatest effect that we are one of the greatest effect on their upbringing and the brain. So I believe that things were going right, you made no mistake here, and now begin to apply the knowledge, because they can accept, they can honest and straightforward and know that you made some mistakes, because they don't make some too, but you made some and you're correcting it, so they can deal with that. Is when we try to present the idea as opposed to what we are experiencing. So it's to model the virtues and at the same time be very honest going forward that you have made some mistake. So there's hope for the fathers who might not have been exposed to this, but they are now getting more knowledge. They will have to start here.
And start here with confidence. Thank you so much. The power of example. And I really love the, you know, what Dr. Pinnock said as well, in terms of, you know, being quick to point out those things that are good. You know, sometimes we're so quick just to see the things that are negative, but catch them doing good and praise them for doing good. And I think that is absolutely important. I thank you so much for that. Now, another big thing, and there are many things, you know, but in the interest of time, we really won't be able to cover some things. So co-parenting is really another big deal, right? Yeah, so Mr. Donor opening up his eyes and looking, he's like, oh gosh, it is over now. So co-parenting. How do we allow that to work? And let me just throw out all of these ideas that were popping up. So as we engage in this discussion, you can choose to touch on whichever you want to touch on. So certainly there's a concern of some fathers that they are afraid of sending, you know, we're looking at finance. So let's tie it into finances as well. So in terms of, yeah, so it's going down now. Mr. Donor, I see your face. So let's go now. So there's a concern of some fathers as it relates to, you know, supporting their children financially. They're afraid to send over the grocery money or the little lunch money to the mother's house if the child is living with the mother, because of concerns that the funds will be used to do other things apart from take care of their child or children. And so sometimes fathers withhold it for that express reason. We think about co-parenting as well, you know, different goals or different opinions, different parenting styles. And when the child is with the father, the child is being the child is under a different set, under a particular set of rules and regulations, but when the child goes over to mommy, it's a different thing, or vice versa. How do we navigate? How do fathers navigate those things? Navigating those experiences toward those situations where there's a stepfather in the house and stepfather probably are going good still, you know, I mean, is really doing its thing. How do you navigate that? When your child comes home and tell you that boy's stepdaddy probably he did something and stepdaddy opted to discipline him. How do fathers steer away from taking those things personally? It's a lot, but just share your thoughts. So let's start with Reverend.
Good. Co-parent, the ideal situation, and I say this after being married for 50 years to the same woman. 50 years, all adult children, 50 years. And I have counseled a lot of men through the years who are struggling. They have children with different women and the problems it creates. You can just read your Bible about a man called Jacob who had some children with different women and some of the challenges that created. The same is true also of the wisest man, Solomon, the problems. David had the same issues with that. But co-parenting. Co-parenting has its fair share of challenges. These relationships can be extremely exhausting, exasperating, and fraught with stress, and especially if you have a contentious relationship with your former spouse. You may feel concerned about your former spouse's parenting abilities. Therefore, for the sake of your children's well-being, it is possible for you to overcome co-parenting challenges and develop a cordial working relationship with your former spouse. Please note, co-parenting consistency is critical in the life of the child. Children need to know that they are living under the same basic set of expectations at each home. Aiming for consistency between your home and the home of your former spouse avoids confusion for your children. Here are 4 tips that you may find useful. Set some rules. And these rules don't have to be exactly the same between 2 households. But if you and your spouse establish generally consistent guidelines, your children won't have to bounce back and forth between 2 radically different disciplinary environments. Important lifestyle rules like homework issues, curfews, and off-limit activities should be followed in both households. Another area, discipline. Try to follow similar systems of consequence for broken rules, even if the infraction didn't happen under your roof. So, if your kids have lost TV privileges while at your ex's home, follow through with the restrictions at your home once they get there. The same can be done for rewarding good behavior. And another important matter, schedule. Where you can, aim for some consistency in your children's schedules. Making meals, homework, and bedtime similar can go a long way toward your child's adjustment to having 2 homes. And this is very, very important. Keep talking with your former spouse as is necessary. If you disagree about something important, you will need to continue communicating. Never discuss your differences of opinions with or in front of your children. If you still can't agree, you may need to talk to a third party, like an unbiased family member, or friend, or pastor, or therapist, or a mediator.
I believe I'm not an expert in these areas, relationships, etc. But I do believe that if we focus on the kids, it's the kid that matters. And if you focus on the kids and not about you and your relationship with, and if you encourage the person that your former partner, if you can come to an agreement that you're gonna do what is best for the kids, regardless of how you feel about each other, that will make it much easier. That platform will enable you to make decisions to benefit the kids.
I couldn't say anything better than that, because what I was about to say, with the statistics pointing to over 80% or more of household being led by a single mother or grandmother, it speaks to daddy not being there. And so it speaks to definitely the term co-parenting. And that's where the difficulty come in, because you know what daddy do at home and its lifestyle might be different than what mommy does. And so it points back to what Dr. Pinnock is saying, that you see, once you're able now to put the differences aside, understand that your role to the child's mother is not one of maybe an intimate partner, because maybe that relationship has ended. Then, and I'm talking outside of the home itself, where you and the person live together and still share that kind of union, then you must recognize from, and it's important to recognize it very early, that listen, we are going to do this for the sake of our son, our daughter, our children. And I think once you lay that very early, there will be hiccups and there will be issues still. But I think once you're committed to that, to make it work for the child, you know, based on what Dr. Pinnock said, yes, it should work. Easier said than done. It's not ideal, but it can work. All right.
Thank you so much. And in the case of having step parents now, that kind of bring, you know, the dynamics in a sense of the situation changes a little bit. How can fathers?
That's tough, you know. And sometimes there's a fear of, yeah, try father my youth, and you know, it can be very touchy. But the truth is also, the opposite is also true in terms of, it's good to have a relationship with the stepdad. After all, he's in the life of your child. So as much as possible, try to have a sit down and communication, open line with him, and share what it is that you would want for your son or daughter or children. And ask him the same, what it is that he would want. You know, what do you do when you realize that, boy, that stepfather have a certain type of behavior that you don't want to run your child is another thing. And that's where you might have to talk to the mother of the child and say, hey, or you might have to go further. That is why you have the family court, you know. But certainly on the surface of it, try to have a respectable, be mutually respectable, both of you. And you might have to initiate it with the stepdad and say, listen, I realize you're in the life of my child. And show appreciation. You know, I'm happy that you are. You can't do nothing about that now. I'm happy that you are in the life. That means that, hey, he will now be able to see positivity and try to, and sometimes he might need help to guide you in that space. And that is why we're saying, you know, be vulnerable, be true to your feel. You might feel away, you know, you might even feel jealous. You know, personally, gentlemen, I have people that I'm accountable to, other men that I can go to and be very frank with. And I think they can help to direct me, even when I might be up in my feelings, you know what I mean? And so that is very important. Have people that you're accountable to, and you have all the answers that they can help to direct you, give you advice. My 2 cents.
Excellent counsels, gentlemen. Thank you so much. So I'm going to, so Erland had his hand raised. I hope I got it. I hope I got it right. Just go right ahead now and share with us, Erland.
All right. Yes. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hear me clearly?
Absolutely, loud and clear. Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. I'm here. Yes, we're hearing you, Erland. Excellently.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Erland, yeah, man. We hear you, man.
Oh,
good.
Okay, great. Good evening, panelists. Good evening, folks. Just a question here. There are many instances, especially in Jamaica here, where fathers would not have played a part in their child's life for whatever reason growing up. The child now becomes an adult and the father wishes now to play a part in that child's life. Question to any one of the panelists. How difficult will it be at that time? And can it work at that? What can that father do at that time then? Because I know a lot of times the children, maybe because they have not been playing a part in their lives, they're probably resentful. You know, the mothers have turned them against the fathers and they want to play. They probably see now that they want to play a part. They did not play a part in their life when they were growing up, but they want to play now. How easy it is, or how easy it is for them to do that, if it is, and how can they go about doing it? That's a question to any one of the panelists.
Excellent question.
Thank
you for that.
Smiling, yes.
Yeah, I'm smiling because last Sunday, my friend who works at Grace Kennedy, Grace and staff, she has this book. I don't know if you can see it. It's a Call Him Daddy. And I was a keynote speaker there. I also, asked me to do a review of the book, and I did. And it spoke to pretty much the same thing that you're speaking about, albeit we are men now, so, but it goes either way. One of the things that I've observed is that many Jamaican fathers, and I don't say most, I'm not like that, but I say many older fathers are walking around with regret. Many older fathers want to reconnect, but what they want to say because of pride or ego or whatever it is, it's very hard to. And because their son or daughter who they were absent out of their lives also have some form of hurt, anger, they really don't know how to go about it. But I'll say this, your child will always be your child. And I believe that true remorse or sincerity expressed towards your child in a very timely, and that child could be an adult. In this context, we're talking about them growing up. That once you approach the situation in a timely, strategic manner, communicating not necessarily face-to-face at first, but maybe through a letter, through a card, something. At first, it might seem like it's not going anywhere, but I strongly believe, and this is my belief, that constant tug or consistency in saying, I'm sorry, you will eventually see that child, that son or that daughter begin to open up, because there will always be that yearning. Always be that yearning. And I believe that love that is expressed in all sincerity cannot be ignored. I'm not going to say to you the relationship is going to be mushy, but there will be some level of acceptance, right? And for those of us who are here, and we are that son who, or that daughter for the females who are here, who we are hurting, honor the Lord by forgiving with parents. Some of our parents, them never know better. Until we can get at a place where we understand that, and sometimes we don't have time for reason out that, but some of them never know better. Let's try to meet them where they are, and maybe it is that we need to start the conversation, because older fathers, many older fathers, that they won't engage or initiate. So let us try to initiate, and don't expect to hear this slew of requests for forgiveness. Just initiate the conversation. And I would say before you even start, maybe you need to seek counseling. You notice I talk about counseling a lot because it has helped me as a 40-year-old man. You understand? Counseling, talk to people, bawl, hurt, when we go through. So it helps and it broadens your perspective, my few cents.
Thank you for that. And Erland, as I think about your question as well, I think about even myself, and my own relationship, with my father. And I think it's important that fathers understand that, hurt takes a while to heal. So if it is, that you're trying and people are resisting, I mean, just keep going. And certainly, as a child growing up with a single parent, and I would say, my father and I were always very close when I was a little tiny tot. But then me being vulnerable now, as we all have been vulnerable in this space, right? He left the island, and the aim was that I should have been there with him, but my mother found out because he went about a very cheeky way. So my mother found out, and it just never happened, right? And I think the hurt and the issues that relates to that, it really was something that fueled some of the things that he chose to do. Because in fact, I can remember as a 6-year-old child at the time, my father just got up one day and I heard that. And mind you, my parents were separated, but he was always there. And I used to think about him as my favorite parent. But when I was 6 years old, I mean, I just noticed that I didn't see him one Sunday, and I heard that he had left. So it was rough in terms of, getting closure. It's almost like somebody died without them actually dying. And I think, it was just his own frustration with the process that, all of this came to, and this was supposed to happen and this, and he did it without thinking. And I'm thinking about all these years that has, elapsed. And I've lived to see my father really kind of come to himself, in terms of trying to reach out and trying to make amends. And in all honesty, I can't say that the relationship is mushy. Borrowing your words, Mr. Dona, and quite frankly, I don't think it will be mushy. But for me, it has been a choice. And I think this is it as well, Erland. The child has to make a choice. So for me, it is a choice to choose to allow you to enter into my life. And, I'm coming to understand as an adult that my father was just a little kid at the time, little youth, never really understand life. And so I had to grow up and, get to the place where I understand that some of those things play a part in everything. So I think, essentially, just borrowing from the pages of his book and my own book, we have to understand that relationships that are severed it will take a time to heal. So don't rush the thing, don't overdo it, just take a time. And I mean, as a father who really was not there, you just have to understand that what you did really had really had a negative impact on your child, and be willing to, work through the little teething pains and allow the relationship to heal. So I really love that question. But certainly, as we have all been talking about, there is certainly hope. All right, there is hope. And as Reverend said, or me paraphrasing Reverend, God is in the midst of all of this, and he will support fathers in their effort to father and to restore those things that may have gone wrong. All right, so
thanks for being vulnerable.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Thank you. You guys have been vulnerable all night, so how could I not, eh? But excellent question. So we're going to close off now because we're approaching the end. So I'm going to be throwing out one final question to our group of panelists. And certainly, if there's anyone in the audience who asks a question, I'll give you the opportunity to. We can accommodate 2 persons. All right. So let's see if we can do that. All right. So let's look at again, and this is something that we kind of touched on a little, but I want to go back there somehow with the hope that we can, end on a note of giving additional strategies as it relates to how this can be done. Fathers, we understand the economy, it is what it is. And the view of the Lord and the view of society in general, it is that fathers are expected to provide. Now, there are some fathers who have difficulty or have challenges with providing in the way that they would hope to be able to provide. What are some things, or what are some ways that fathers can contribute nonetheless to parenting, even if their pocket not so strong? Some fathers will take on themselves literally when they realize that they really can't contribute. You just take for yourself. But we're learning that fathering and parenting is more than money. So help us to navigate that as well. How else can we really parent? How else can a father parent and still feel relevant in a situation like that? And are there any practical resources that you can think of that would be able to help a father who now will be looking into himself and trying to see how we can navigate this situation?
I'm compelled to respond to this question. Are you hearing me?
Absolutely, I am.
Yeah, I've switched device to a phone because I'm going to be traveling shortly. But
Okay.
let me, someone in a session I just had before this meeting, the guest speaker said they did not know that they were poor, and I realized the same for me and my family. My father and mother and my mother, they had 16 kids, 16 of us. I'm the third of 16. We grew up in the country. I was born on a little thatch hut, dirt floor, and I out of poverty. But I never thought of myself as being somebody that is poverty stricken. Never. Because one thing we are sure of, that there's always food, and it's not gourmet meals, but you can have cooked food for breakfast, you roast this, roast that. We had cows, so we got the milk from the cow, etc., etc. And we grew up very happy. Daddy was always there. Wake up in the morning, we could hear his voice. He would wake us up to go and milk the cow with him or to follow him or something. But he was always there. Now, if you look back at the material contribution that he made to us, that was minute in terms of monetary value. But that yam, hill of yam, that dasheen, that cocoa, the cow's milk, the chicken that we raised, and all these things made sure we ate. It felt as if it was an abundance. We had like one good church suit, one good school suit, and what we call the judging clothes we wear around the house, etc., etc. We had about 2 good, suits of clothes. There are 3 boys that were a year apart. 3 of us, my 2 brothers and I, and we had 2 pairs of shoes that were shared for 3 of us. And sometimes when 2 of us go to church, the 3rd one couldn't go because we only had 2 pairs of shoes. Even during that time, we never thought that we were any way off. But guess what? In all of this, Daddy and Mommy was always there, playing a part in our life, playing with us. That we play, make kite for us, make gig for us, make cart, and we ramp and play, etc., etc. Always there. Didn't have much until he died. Didn't have much, but I felt I had the best father in the entire world. Play a role in your children's life, whether you have it or not. Lie down on the bed, ramp when you're hungry. In fact, sometimes we're hungry and playing that day when we're hungry because we're having fun playing pillow war or something when it was raining, for a couple of days. So that is my solution to the problem. Be there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Be there.
We need to affirm the men. You have to say, Brother Jason, talk to them. And we need to affirm the men and to bring out the best in them because they are changing now. If you notice, they are going to supermarket, they are going to PTA meeting, they are complaining the women and things like that. But it cannot be overemphasized. They must play a role in the life of the child or the children. You notice, you got a program on RJR with I don't remember his name now, but it's coming Sunday. Some of the children, they are grown adults now, and they're saying they don't want nothing from the father. They don't want, they have achieved, they just want to know him, to hear his voice and things like that. So fathers, it's more than a biological experiment. It's more than providing finance. They need to play a role in the child in terms of emotional support, psychological support, and physically. And that's a big vibe for them. You understand? A woman can't duplicate the role of a man. You have a lot of single parent also the mother is doing a lot, but you cannot duplicate the role of a man. God made a man to behave a certain way and to take care of certain things. And when he plays a role, it makes a world of difference in the life of the child. So the support must always be there, and whatever over numerous are the items on his agenda of concern, the good of the child or the children should be uppermost on that agenda. So whatever he needs to do, whatever he needs to do, he needs to work himself to make the relationship work, and if you need to recognize norms so that he can prioritize that, he must do it. But the role of the father is very important in helping with the development of the children.
I just want to add this quickly. Where provision is concerned, once your child sees your effort, whether that effort causes the bucket to be full or it causes a drop, that child would appreciate it. Once a child sees your effort, when we talk to boys or young ladies and they come on to provision, once they see your effort, they will say, "Mommy and daddy are trying, man. Them not really have it, so me, But so once they see your effort, that is key. I mean, the amount is not really that relevant to them. They want to know that you have tried. Yeah, man.
Thank
Can
you.
I add two little things to this? First, I did a funeral for a gentleman. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Very good, very good, very good. I officiated at a funeral for a gentleman whose son was paying tribute to him. The man, the father who had passed, was illiterate and his wife was illiterate. But the son paying tribute at the funeral was a medical doctor. And among the things he said, his father did. His father could not assist him with his homework, but he said every night while he was up doing homework, the father sat up with him. He is today a medical doctor. He is a medical doctor. Secondly, in my own experience, I remember on one occasion, one child was to go start university, the other one was at high school. And with the startup of university and going back to high school for the new year, it involves some money. We didn't have all the money that was necessary to get them all that they needed. So what we did, we had a family conference. We prayed together as a family and began casting about for solutions. And as we did, I asked the one getting ready to go off to university, what are the absolutely must-have things that you need for university? She shared the things. The other child to go to high school, she said, fine, let us get the things that she needs to go to university. I will return to school for the new year, you wearing the same uniform, same shoes that I had last year. And what about the money to pay to your high school? Well, we decided in that little confab that we will write a letter to the principal of the high school and explain to her that we are unable to pay the money upfront, and so we are asking for a payment plan. She happily conceded. granted what the request we made. And so both of them were able to go on to university, to go back to high school. Both of them are highly trained professionals in their own right today. But that in that situation, they, as little children, learned that when you have a problem, if we come together, more things are possible when we knock heads, and especially if that is preceded by seeking the face of the Heavenly Father. God bless you all.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful story. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Oh my goodness. I feel like I could sit and listen to you all night. Excellent stories, excellent experiences. Excellent, excellent. Well, we have come to the end of a wonderful, wonderful session. And it almost feels like we could do a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 and keep going. Excellent session. Now, there is just a little bit of housekeeping. There is a link that is being circulated in the chat with a Google form, and you're being asked to just complete the information. Remember that the aim is, the little gift fairy is aiming to have a raffle, right? And so we will use the names that or the information that will be gathered on those forms to assist in that process, all right, of getting that raffle done. But I want to, informally, just thank you so much, Dr. Pinnock, Reverend Henry, Sir Donna, Sir Blake. Thank you for being vulnerable tonight. Thank you for sharing these experiences. And I really hope that, the fathers who have sat here and who have fed so richly from this table will go out and share these things with their brethren as well, and do the best that they can to implement these things. And something that I'm really loving about this setup is that, it really helps us to understand that we don't know everything, and that was mentioned before. We don't know everything, but guess what? We have resources around us. So when as fathers you're struggling, and this is something that I'm hearing as well, seek out someone who is like a Reverend Henry to you, or like a Sir Donna, like a Sir Blake, like a Dr. Pinnock, and talk man to man and work through this together, because it can be done. And just borrowing again from the words of Jermaine, we want to do well because we want to win for our children. We want to win for our children. And so certainly we are going to do our best as we go forward. Sorry. So certainly we're going to do our best as we go forward to accept the past, engage the present, impact the future, get uncomfortable where we have to get uncomfortable. As fathers, we may not have it, but feel free to roll around with pillows, right? Right, Sir Pino, right, Dr. Pino, roll around with pillows.
Oh, yes.
Play with your children.
Yeah, with the children.
You're hungry. Reverend Henry, feel free to engage your children because they're able to reason, right? And
Ramp for your children, man. Ramp.
Right, ramp, yes, ramp. Feel free to ramp. Thank you. Right, but all of these things we're looking at. Thank you so much for this wealth of information. So I'm now going to turn the time over to Mrs. Ruth Cousin Hemmings, and she's going to give you the official vote of thanks that you definitely deserve. And thank you for being amazing. Thank you for being amazing fathers. Thank you for being amazing examples to the men who are there. It's wonderful.
And
it's our pleasure.
Madam Moderator.
Blessings.
Please, Madam Moderator, please let us encourage these men to talk to their children, little children, tell them that a good education is the best way out of poverty. And secondly, that they should always have a relationship with the teacher, our teachers of their children.
Absolutely.
it works wonders for your child. The teacher will
Absolutely.
see to your child's welfare to a degree and an extent that might not otherwise have been possible. Talk to your child's teacher.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. And be present. Right, Sir Blake? Be present. Be present. All right. So guess what? Before we get to our vote of thanks, you see, I guess probably, I don't know, I'm probably thinking about my bed, but the giveaway fair is coming and she will have some giveaways. All right, so stick around for that. And after that, we will have our official vote of thanks. So again, fathers, big up yourselves. Our wonderful panelists, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We've been richly fed.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Johnson Grant, and thank you to all our panelists and everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed our panel discussion. All right, so we're winding down, everyone, but we can't end without giving away lots more tokens, everyone. I'm still in the spirit of giving, so we have a lot more tokens to give away. All right, so let's see how much you were listening to the panel discussion. And I have 2 questions to ask, and the first 2 fathers to respond in the chat, you'll be getting prizes. So when Mr. Blake was speaking about positive parenting strategies, he named quite a few. So the first 2 fathers, can you name 2 of the positive parenting strategies that Mr. Blake highlighted in the discussion? Quickly in the chat. First 2 fathers. Two positive parenting strategies. Quality time. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawrence, but you won a gift already. So I'm going to need 2 other fathers. All right, so A9, you're saying establishing the same rules. All right, this answer would be in response to the step parenting techniques. All right, so I'm going to need 2 strategies for the positive parenting techniques now. Come on, guys, you can do it. Anybody? Are my father's okay, hold on. Chad Simeon is in active listening, patience present, very good. Christopher Silva is saying, listen to your child, tell them you love them. Very good. So we have 2 winners. So Chad Simeon and Christopher Silva, you have won 2 lovely gift baskets courtesy of Progressive Grocer. So congratulations. And we'll contact you. Don't leave the workshop. We'll contact you shortly with information on how you can retrieve your prize, okay? All right, thank you and congratulations again. All right, so we'll now hand over to Mrs. Ruth Cousins-Hemmings, who will deliver our vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It is indeed an honor to deliver this vote of thanks this evening. Firstly, I would like to thank God for giving us the wisdom, strength, and the vision to plan, coordinate, and execute this workshop successfully. On behalf of the Mico University College Care Center, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our keynote speaker, Mr. Jason Downer, who earlier told us today that he wasn't feeling well. Well, he made a wonderful impact this afternoon on this event by broadening the discourse on fathering without fear. We thank you for the role you played in this evening, for your insight, knowledge, and thought-provoking perspective, which I am sure was of good benefit to our fathers. Special thanks to our panelists, Dr. Ashburn Pinnock, Mr. Alric Blake, and Reverend Alston Henry, for taking the time out of their busy schedule to grace us with their presence and to contribute to our very informative and lively panel discussion. Gentlemen, we are indeed very grateful to you all for having been a part of this very powerful conversation which opened a new window of knowledge and learning for our fathers this evening. fathers, we thank you for the occasion. We thank you for rising to the occasion by attending this auspicious event in an effort to learn new skills and gain knowledge. We hope that you are better equipped to cope with the social and emotional challenges that can affect parenting. Your attendance, as well as your fulsome participation, has fueled the success of this workshop. We thank you again for your attendance and participation, and we trust that you will continue to embrace your role as fathers, especially now that you have been empowered with the knowledge on how to nurture your children in the best way possible, but most importantly, to father without fear. The staging of this event was made possible by a very hard-working, committed team from the Mico Care Center. And as the chairperson of the planning committee, I would like to take this time out to individually acknowledge all of them. Special thanks to our director, Dr. Sharon Anderson Morgan, the co-chair of the planning committee, Ms. Simone Smith, and our committee members, Mrs. Georgia Johnson, our moderator for this evening's program, Mrs. Anne-Marie Minot Williams, Ms. Shalika Matthews, Mr. Jermaine James, Mrs. Junie Goldburn, Mr. Chase Knight, and Ms. Kathy Lee Brown. Members of the planning committee, thank you all. It was a pleasure working with you. We also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Jamaican Teas, Ribis Ultra Lounge, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Progressive Grocers of Jamaica, High Low Food Store, Devon House Bakery, and Texaco, Jamaica. Thanks to everyone again for attending, and do enjoy the rest of your evening, and a happy Father's Day when it comes. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings, everyone.
Blessings.
It was a pleasure.
And it was indeed a pleasure having you all.